There are 47.5 million people globally having dementia, and every year there will be 7.7 million new cases of dementia. And this dementia really brings a lot of tragedies at home and costs so much money in United States or other countries. So how can we prevent dementia, or at least we can slow down the process of the dementia? So in dementia patients, the neurons in their brain, which uses one chemical called acetylcholine, are degenerating faster than it should be. So the main thing we can prevent or slow down the dementia is to slow down the degeneration of those neurons, and also help to the neurons regenerate. The regeneration process is very slow, so if we can slow down the degeneration, that's much easier to achieve than regenerate the cerebral neurons. It's easy to regenerate peripheral nerves, but in the brain and the spinal cord, it takes long time to regenerate the neurons. So thinking about neurons, how they are functioning, the blood circulation is the main factor to maintain the normal function, because the blood carries oxygen, carries nutrients to maintain the neurons' function. So we need to try different kind of ways to improve the circulation to the brain. First, everybody knows alcohol will influence the neurons, and the alcohol itself is toxic to neurons. Even though small amount of alcohol or red wine especially can dilate the blood vessel, but if you comparing the benefits and the toxic effect of the alcohol, I would recommend drink as less as you can. Many people who develop Alzheimer's, one kind of dementia, they used to drink a lot of alcohol when they were young, so they didn't pay attention how the alcohol influenced the neurons. Just because we have so many neurons in the brain, only when you damage the majority of neurons, then you lose the brain function. You couldn't remember things and going home, how to go home. So that's the first step. And then also intense exercises will also improve the blood circulation in your brain. So when you do fast walking or running or swimming, you kind of breathe heavily and your heart beating faster and stronger. So you force the blood to those small blood vessels in your brain. And so those brain area will get sufficient nutrients and oxygen to maintain the normal function of the cells. The other thing is meditation. We know when the neurons are always in a hyperactive state, that's kind of toxic to the neurons. And meditation will kind of calm down the neurons and also dilate the blood vessels in the brain and bring more oxygen if you combine the deep breathing technique. So you can also use acupuncture to help bring more blood flow to your brain. like once a week or every other week, because acupuncture also reduces the stress, and the steroid, the stress hormone, is also toxic to the brain. The other thing I noticed for the people who are taking the high blood pressure medication, sometimes the blood pressure can drop very low, and if that happens while you are sleeping, you actually cut down the blood flow to your brain, which can cause blockage of small blood vessels and damage your neurons. So monitor your blood pressure and keep the medication at the lowest possible dosage will help you maintain the normal brain function. And also, I find many healthy 90 years old who drinks tea and enough water, they have very healthy brain until the very end. And so I think tea, which have a lot of antioxidant, kind of protecting the neurons. But you don't want to drink too much, then you kind of dehydrate the body. And the last step I like you to think about to improve your neuron function is Chinese herbal formula. So in one of the Chinese medical journal in 2005, a group of research in Taiwan, they use a Chinese formula which helps to maintain, strengthen the kidney function, also clear up the phlegm. This formula can actually help improve the rat's performance when they already have ischemia changes in their brain. And the mechanism of this is maybe it modified the excessive activation of glutamate receptor. We know glutamate is a excitatory neurotransmitter and make neurons hyperactive. When the neurons in a constant hyperactive state, and it can damage the function. That's why the MSG is prohibited in America, because it's overstimulate neurons. So it added a taste to the food and also make people very excited. That's why the food become more popular with this chemicals inside. So if you are worrying about your parents, when they reach 80 years old, you want to prevent the dementia, at the same time strengthening their kidney function, you can actually use Chinese formula. This particular formula called Returning to the Youth. You can search that in the website.